Hi everyone. This is part two of the sessions on Speak by Jordan Rakei, and we're going to focus on the rhythm specifically for this one. Someone asked yesterday if I could do some sessions on how you work out rhythm. That was cool, and here I am today effectively doing that also in a track that somebody else asked if I could do a video of, so you can see how hopefully all these things kind of build together. Okay, let's get right into it. The track Speak uses two very opposing styles of rhythm. One is really straightforward, which is really familiar to all, which is repeated crotchets or repeated quarter notes, a bit like this. The track is in 4/4 time, and it goes like this. Here's the verse: 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's a little riff that happens sometimes, but generally speaking, and throughout the whole piece, there's a really strong sense of this strong crotchet pulse, or 4/4 time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and that's all really straightforward. I know you can all understand that. To develop your skills, so in response to how you start to develop hearing beyond that, let's presume that you can all hear that. Well, I know that you can, so that's great. But how do you then move things along? Well, you have to consider rhythm which gets longer than that, and then rhythm which gets shorter. I mean, that's cool, right? You can go this way or that way. Either the rhythms are going to become longer or they're going to become shorter. Let's deal with longer first, okay? So you'll hear when you listen to the music, the verse doing this. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Okay, and that will repeat. And then you'll get to a pre-chorus where the rhythm is going to do this. The pulse will stay the same, but the rhythm will get the rhythms rather will get longer. It will sound like this: 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, cool. So let's work backwards from where we started. Okay. One of the things which is tricky when you're working out rhythms is when the time signature changes, but the rhythm doesn't change. And that happens a couple of times in this song. So you're keeping the similar rhythm with those changes. We've got whole notes or semi-breves, which is one which lasts for a whole 4, like this F sharp minor 11 chord. 1, 2, 3, 4. That moves to F major 9. 1, 2, 3, 4. You then get a minim on E flat. 1, 2, crotchet, crotchet, semi-breve, 2, 3, 4. And that rhythm repeats again with different chords. Part 3, I'll spell out every single chord in the track in part 3. But you can hear those rhythms are longer than the crotchet pulse, but it's all within that kind of pulse, still kind of ruling the roost there. Okay, so that's one of the things which is tricky. At the end there you get A minor for 1 bar, and then you get an E7 chord for another 4 beats, but it's part of a 6/4 bar. And the reason that I've done the time signature changes is to do with emphasis, you know, where the strong beats of the track are. When you get a really strong downbeat or upbeat kind of feel, that suggests a change in time feel. It can often be a cymbal crash or a vocal pickup, for something like that. And you might go, oh, heads up, I think the time signature is changing. So let me play that example again. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, Okay, so you can hear the rhythm is not doing much, but the time signature changed. The other thing, so that's a cool thing to listen out for. You know, listen out for where you think the emphasis is, and then count the beats of the pulse to tell you how many different pulses you had before the emphasis change. Okay, when you hear the track, that will all make sense. Okay, the other one is, of course, rhythms which get shorter. And how about rhythms that get shorter and longer and with time signature changes? And that, you know, that's going to lead you exactly to where we are on this chorus. Okay, so we're moving quick here, but I think that's a good thing. And then hopefully we'll try and keep the video a bit shorter. Okay, so the chorus is tricky because the time signature changes in every bar and the rhythms become much quicker and use a particular kind of technique, which loosely speaking I would describe as a push and pull technique. A push when you play on the last 16th beat of a bar, it's like you're pushing, and a pull or a pull up, or is it the other way around? I think like a pull is when you do the last one, and then a pull is when you do the second. Anyway, we're talking about whether you play on the last semiquaver beat of a crotchet or the second, either the second or the fourth, or the E and the A, if you know about 1 E and a 2 E and a. If you don't know about that, you're about to. Okay, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a. What is that? Well, you can cross-reference the previous videos on that, but that is the crotchet pulse, the pulse of this song. 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, broken down into 16th notes. Now that should be fairly straightforward for musicians of your standard and your age, your experience at this point. So if you can hold that and cope with time signature changes, you can start to cope with working out this very tricky chorus. So we're going to do 3/4 and 5/4, but we're going to count with the 16th note subdivision with the 1 E anders, etc. Okay, and it's going to go like this: 1, 2, 3. 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 5 E and a. Okay, and that's going to repeat twice. Let's do that again. Join in. Why don't you join in? Sorry. Should really edit these videos, should I not? Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3. 2 times. 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 5 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E, 5 E and a. Okay, good. And that's the basic underlying way that the chorus rhythm works. That's where the emphases are. That's how I've worked it out. Yes, 3 and 5 is 8, so you could just say 2 bars of 8 or 4 bars of 4/4, but that's to do with where the emphasis lies. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to say the 1 E and a, 2 E and a, etc., etc., but I'm going to clap my hands where those rhythms are. Now I don't want to belabor this point too much. I want you to have a go at trying to work this out. What you're listening for, guys, is where I clap. Do I clap on a number? Do I clap on an E, an and, or an A? And I'll give you a clue. I don't clap on any ands. Okay? So I'll do a slow version and then we'll do a slightly quicker one. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3. 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 5 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 5 E and a. Okay? Now, actually that wasn't that much slower, was it? That's kind of like, that's kind of the pulse of the track. Okay? Oh well. You can file a complaint. Okay? Let's do that again. Okay? So you can hopefully get more of a feel of that, okay? Same introduction. I'll give a bar for nothing, and then we'll get into the exercise. You ready? Here we go. 1, 2, 3. 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 5 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E, 3 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E, 5 E and a. okay? Now with claps, it seems way out of context. It seems harsh, it seems like percussion, and it seems a million miles away from, you know, the nice kind of chord world of Jordan Rakei here. But let's put it into context, okay? And I'll try and play those rhythms slowly, and then you can see what's going on. So in that first bar, you get this: 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 5 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 1 E and 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 5 E and a... Okay, so again, you can see that's not teaching you necessarily how to play it. I'll deal with that in the next video, but it's showing you that if you don't subdivide and you don't break down the music into a pulse and a time signature, and then be able to either make that pulse greater or smaller than the underlying rhythm that you feel there, you won't be able to do this. Or at least it will take you a long time, or it will be very frustrating. So that's really, really key. Right, okay, to close this video, I'm going to play the track from the studio version. We'll do 3 different versions of this piece. I'm going to play the track from the beginning, and I'll talk you through these kinds of things, and then hopefully that will make good sense. There's lots of repetition, so it's the same, loosely speaking, from the first verse, pre-chorus and chorus to the others. Although, you know, by the time you get there, you'll be able to work it out for yourself. Right, okay, here we go. So hope you all can hear that. 2, 3, 4, 1. Everything happens within this. Okay, the rhythms are going to get much longer. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 2, 3, 4. Beautiful voicing of A minor there. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Here we go. 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 5 E and a 1 E and 2 and 2, 3. Okay. So you can see I had to work hard in that chorus, but hopefully that's really starting to make sense. Actually, I did do it quite a lot slower than the track. So you can hear the work that I'm doing. All the time when the track is playing, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 5 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a... Yeah? And that's cool. Now, when you're listening to this track and you're freaking out in a club, or you're out on a run listening to it on iTunes, and you know, or you're just hanging with your friends, you know, just freaking out about how great music and life is, you're really detached from these things. And me too. It's not what I'm thinking about when I'm doing that. I'm just swimming around in the music. But it's great, again, to take a step back and be able to analyze these things and start to work it out. So to answer the question of how do you start to decipher rhythm? You understand what time signature is and be able to understand a pulse, an amount of pulses that make up that time signature. And then you can either break that down into smaller chunks by halving it each time, you know, quarter, eighth, 16th, 32nd, or you make it bigger. You go up to from a quarter to a half and then to a whole. Okay, good. So hopefully that makes sense. A bit of a masterclass on the rhythm. We've covered most of the rhythm of the track in great detail. I appreciate lots of this you can hear for yourselves, but I hope this joins some of the dots of the things that you didn't know. Okay. Okay, thanks. See you in part 3, I hope. Ciao.